Hey, how's it going, man? I'm gonna clap. Okay.
Hello.
Hey, boss.
What you doing?
Oh, I'm calling you for the interview.
Oh, yeah. How was class?
Oh, it was great. We just talked about everyone's thesis films.
That's it?
A couple people didn't show up. You know how it goes. It's alright. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
How was your day? Sport?
It was fine.
I gotta clean my room one of these days. This visual sketch was brought to you by Modelo. Modelo? What you know about that? Probably nothing.
Right.
I didn't eat anything all day. This is a terrible idea. It's got a recording minute of about 10 minutes, so you might have to start it over. It might like automatically stop recording and you'll have to just start another. Just letting you know.
Who are you talking to?
Talking to you.
Oh, wait, what did you say?
I said, when are we going to get this interview started? Are you recording this, by the way?
No, I don't know how.
What do you mean?
I don't know how to, like, what do you mean recording it? I mean typing it or, like, literally recording it?
I mean, you could record it like an audio recording just to, like... Do you have, like, another, I don't know, device or something that you could record audio with? I think it's a good idea. You want to see something sick? I'm editing this Powerpuff Girls video.
What? Huh? Oh, wait, you want something? You want the bat? No. You want some more of it? Oh. You do? Oh, yeah.
This is it's the opening to my Powerpuff Girls video. This is the next video I'm making.
The Powerpuff Girls was a cartoon that aired on Cartoon Network from 1998.
It's very bare bones. Oh shit, my speaker died. Fighting crime, trying to save the world. Here they come just in time. The Powerpuff Girls. That show's so sick.
Sensibility, specifically from a strange cartoon done by Joe Horn titled Stevie Washington, the Angry Youth, that aired on MTV.
I've got a really nice voice.
Yeah, you do. You're a good speaker.
I'm a great speaker.
Definitely.
That's why print is dead. You don't actually print these out, do you? Like the newspapers?
No, it's like, it just gets sent out as an email to the whole school.
So it's a newsletter, so it could be, theoretically, it could be an audio recording. It could be an audio file.
Yeah. I think I've got this thing set up.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry.
I just recorded that.
Put it in. Put it in the, I don't know what you would put it in. Oh! Excuse me.
I'm gonna link your burping. Okay. How and when did your passion for film start?
So, I remember being at a very young age, probably around 8 to 10 years old, and just really liking the feeling of seeing myself on camera, like playing back footage, which is a feeling that most people in like film classes that I've seen don't like. They really don't like that aspect, seeing themselves. That's why they're behind the camera. But that's kind of how I got into it, like wanting to replicate that feeling. Because there's those videos that we have of you and me when we were really young on YouTube, and that Mom recorded, and I remember really just like watching those and watching them over and over again. And then eventually I saved up enough like allowance money to buy a flip camera. That was my first camera. And you were in plenty of these videos. We would make Nerf War videos. And I didn't have a proper editing software at the time. Flip, the camera company, came out with their own editing software with the cameras, but you couldn't really do a whole lot with it. It was only meant for like family home video stuff. So like each cut, there was an automatic fade to white, and we would do like high action sequences with like Nerf war videos. So every cut was a cut to white, or a fade to white, fade back to the next cut, like over and over again, really fast. That's just a tangent. But after doing that and like having a lot of fun with that and watching YouTube like a lot as a kid. Like I did that more than anything probably. I still do that more than anything. That kind of like influenced my sensibilities and like what I wanted to do in my free time. And, you know, I never had like any intentions of like, because I uploaded everything I made. I never had any intentions of like being a YouTuber and what that means today. But I always just had a really cool feeling that like, you know, I don't know, for some reason I felt more special or something doing that. And so that sort of grew and grew as I went into high school, and then bought my own like proper, like, it's more of a photo camera than a video camera. It's like a Canon DSLR thing. And mostly just like emulate the people that I watched at the time and emulate their sense of humor. And there was actually a moment where Dad, I was probably around 16, 17, where Dad found a lot of the videos that I had made and made public and asked me to like unlist all of them so they couldn't be seen anymore, because he had some problems with some of the videos I had made outside of class. Some of the content was maybe not age appropriate, and a couple of videos showed our house, which he had a big problem with.
Yeah.
And I remember feeling really upset about that, but it was something that I did it as he asked, and I unlisted everything. But I just kind of kept making videos anyway, and I don't think he ever... The next time he saw those videos was when he was like okay with the fact that maybe I was a bit older, so it was a bit more appropriate. And I to this day, I unlist stuff from like high school and stuff that I'm embarrassed by, either because of it's, you know, bad quality, low quality, or like just the behavior and the content within is like so embarrassing as like me looking back as an adult.
So how would you say your passion for film has like affected your life?
How has it affected my life? It's probably for the worst, to be honest with you. Because I went to art school for film. And that was a decision that came from convenience more than anything. It was Pratt was the school that gave me the most money. And I was dead set on going to school in New York, which is another big mistake, because everything's just more expensive. But, you know, growing up in such a small town, you know, you kind of feel a very strong impulse to do anything else and to get the complete opposite of that. So, yeah, I think overall for the worst, but who can really say, because people that actually work jobs in the film industry, even in New York, you can work like a couple months out of the year and you're set for the rest of the year. That's like how good the pay is usually. The work is very strenuous, long hours, but I think ultimately it's worth it. But as of right now, I don't have, you know, Pratt's education is more focused on the art of film and the art of filmmaking, not so much where, you know, schools like NYU are more focused on like, how do I get a job in the film industry? I can't really say that for sure. That's just what I've heard. That's how the schools' curriculums differ. But yeah, right now it's a little, it's not very reassuring being where I am now, a senior in college, and I still don't really have any strong idea of how I'm going to get a job in this field. So I think because of that, I've sort of maybe shot myself in the foot. I wouldn't say that I regret going to Pratt, because I met a lot of great people here, and there's a lot of experiences that I don't think I would be able to get anywhere else, but I wouldn't say that the school itself or the education that I've received here is necessarily unique or even worthwhile, considering the cost of the school. I mean, I've got a great deal with Mom's tuition exchange and the scholarships I've gotten, but I definitely wouldn't be going here if that wasn't the case.
Why did you start the film club at Queen Anne's?
To be honest, to get them club points. like good boy points for the college applications. Because at the time what I had under my belt, I think the only legitimate one was I was in the National Honor Society for about a year, and then I just stopped showing up I think I didn't go to like a single actual meeting. I applied, I got accepted, just so that I could have that on my thing, on my college resume. And I didn't go to a single meeting, and eventually they kicked me out because of low attendance. But the thing is, you can just put NHS, I was in NHS, at some point when I was in high school, and that's true, that's not a lie.
Yeah.
It's just not the whole time. So there was that, and I was the secretary for the International Thespian Society, which was real. That was a real position I was like voted into, because it was like a small group of friends, and we all just kind of hung out. So those are the only things I had under my belt. There was also set construction crew chief, which was made up. I didn't do anything, but you could like ask Mr. Edgel, who was like the chief of that, or the teacher that backed that program in the theater department. You could ask Mr. Callahan, the director at the time, and they would be like, yeah, Landon's chill, he helps us out, but I didn't do shit. That's just kind of relationship we had. And so the film club was something that I felt like could really set me apart, and not so much that it's like an actual real thing, because I don't think we ever really were properly set up with the school and recognized by the school as a real club. And then we have a yearbook picture. No, we do. We definitely do have a yearbook picture. Or maybe not. I don't think I ever sent one. No, we're not in the yearbook. Never mind. But why I did it, really, it was kind of just an excuse to hang out with my friends in Miss Gibbs' room. We would it was like sort of like a movie book club thing. We would watch a movie each week and vote on whatever movie we wanted to see. And then we'd talk about it the next week. And I would host. It was kind of legit. I would go to the library and reserve time and play the film there. I'd have to buy DVDs of the films because that's the only way you could play films in that Queen Anne's County Public Library. And and it got to a point where eventually people stopped showing up to those library screenings, where I stopped taking the club as seriously. Because at first I was very serious about it, but then I kind of realized people just weren't interested, or I didn't do enough good enough job promoting it or whatever. And then I just kind of stopped. But we still like met every week in that room. And at one point it was sort of just the kind of people that I would hang out with normally. And that's kind of what it evolved into. And it was just something that I could technically put on my college resume. And it looks really good. Founder and president of the Queen Anne's County High School Film Society. You know?
Did you, one, make anything in this film club, and two, how did this club contribute to the creativity or just to your films in general, to your videos?
So we didn't make anything. At one point I used the club as a resource for my like final high school era film project, a film that I never actually finished called Debate Club. And in my freshman year of college I made a documentary about how that project failed and the problems that came with it and all this other stuff, like early filmmaking struggles. Yeah, the club, we just watched movies. But at one point I did use that as a resource to like try and find people that were interested in helping. But those were the kind of people I was asking anyway, because everyone that was in the film club were people I was already friends with. There might have been one or two stragglers, but they might have agreed to help with my film Debate Club, but they never really showed up to any the shoots, which is fine, you know. We didn't really make. I would say it didn't really attribute to my like creativity as a filmmaker at all.
That's basically what I figured, but my journalism teacher is really trying to get me to relate this to QA, because we have to make everything to relate to it, and
Word.
Like he wants me to ask you like and like try to tie this to like how people can follow in your footsteps. I'm like, I don't necessarily know that he wants that, really. Like,
what do I want people to follow my footsteps?
Yeah, like, I mean, just based on what you've said so far, like about the whole film club, just like, I don't know, I feel like it showed you not necessarily what not to do, but it didn't really work out that great, which is fine.
Yeah.
But, like, I just don't exactly know how that would fit in this article.
Well, it sounds like your freaking newspaper is not about real news, and it's about it's a puff piece for the freaking school. That's what it sounds like.
Dude, exactly. I'm gonna play this audio to my freaking teacher.
Hey, teacher, fuck you.
Never mind. I will not be playing this to him.
We could cut that part out.
He went here, he graduated from here, and he's doing something that not everybody else does. Isn't that enough to make him, like... He's like, what makes this newsworthy? Like, why do I care? I'm like, you don't. I'm just writing it. Like, you think these kids actually read? They don't.
They definitely don't read the school newspaper. I didn't even know QA had one.
How has majoring in film affected your feelings towards it?
It's definitely increased my appreciation of film in general. Like, there's a lot that I've seen at film school that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. And it kind of makes me feel like superior to the average film viewer, which is pretentious, but it's true. Because, I just have this, like, lexicon of, like, obscure film knowledge that not the average person doesn't have access to. And, you can appreciate it more. I mean, that makes sense. If you go to school for something, you're going to learn a lot about it. And you can do with that information what you will. What I do is, I use it to elevate myself and then look down on the petty peons that watch Marvel movies, even though I watch those same movies.
Yeah. But you're watching it differently than they are.
Right, because I'm waiting in Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm waiting for Hercules to show up, and he only showed up at like the last 2 seconds of the movie, and I was really pissed off. Also, Beta Ray Bill never made an appearance, which was like, when? You're doing a great job, by the way.
Am I really?
Yes.
I feel like I'm doing terrible.
You're doing great.
So what's your... I didn't really know how to word this question when I wrote it, but just like, what do you like doing most? Like, what's your favorite side of your major, I guess?
Definitely, like, a sense of humor plays a big role in everything I do. I'll tell you a story. I probably told you already, but when I was up in New York for Joe's thesis screening, I had to watch everybody's films. Joe's included. It was in like a big block where everybody's film played, and at the end they had all the directors come up on stage for a Q&A section, and the head of the department had everyone introduce themselves and talk a little bit about why their films were created. And they went down this line like of, I wanted to make a movie where my aborted fetus is a monster that's trying to kill me. And another person was like, I want to make a movie where I killed my rapist. And I want to make a movie about my schizophrenic dad who killed himself. And then it gets to Joe, and he says, I just want to make a movie inspired by like the Twilight Zone with my friends. And there is something so it's interesting to me that that's rare, that like a normal, non-traumatic, non-content warning film is something that is seen at a thesis show. So that's something that really inspires my work, because you rarely see shit that's like, you can laugh at this, it's okay. Yeah, and that sounds like I'm coming from this like, straight white male, sick and tired of these liberals, and that's not where I'm getting at all. Don't misunderstand me here. Although that's probably right up QA's alley, so maybe do say that.
Yeah.
I just think there's something there's really like, there's a missing, I don't know whether to call it genre or just like a way of looking at filmmaking that's like, it's underrepresented at Pratt, and it's really not even like taking into consideration everything I make, not even really trying. I insert my own sense of humor in there.
What direction do you think you're headed in with your film degree after college?
I've got a couple connections so far. One through a friend of a professor I had last year, who asked me after I interviewed her for a project for school to get in contact with her after I graduated. and hopefully she'll be able to help me find something. Other than that, my roommate Sam has on-set experience, and he can help me. He said there's these like Facebook groups you can go into and look around for places that are looking for just like, I forget what the position is called, but it's a PA, but you're not a normal PA. You're like a fill PA. So like whenever the PAs call out, they call you, and that's like bottom of the barrel, lowest rung on the ladder, and from that point you work your way up. And yeah, like I mentioned before, it's insanely long hours. Like Sam, he works, when he was working for film sets and stuff, minimum 12-hour days. Most of the time he's just like standing around telling people not to turn a light off. Like that's his job for the day. This light needs to stay on. If anyone tries to turn it off, don't let them. And then no one will come up to the light for like 8 hours. So it's like very either monotonous or maybe strenuous labor, or just very, very time consuming. But from that point, Sam's goal right now, which I could say is probably similar, is to go from his position as like set PA, temp PA thing, and work up, eventually get into the union, and become what's called a loader. And their whole deal, what a loader does is they load and unload camera equipment and lighting equipment and everything on and off of trucks, and they get paid $40 an hour.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's incredible. So that's, I'd like to do something like that. What I really would like to do, what I enjoy most about film, outside of like doing whatever I want, you can't make money doing whatever you want, is like the production aspect, which means like budgeting, scheduling, the guy that hires the crew, the guy that figures out what camera equipment you need, and connecting all these different departments. That's an aspect of filmmaking that really interests me and something I'd really get into, but that would be like years and years down the line, if it happens at all.
Is there any advice you can give to students who may want to follow similar footsteps? Like, it doesn't have to be exactly film, but like going into like art, or like something that they're really passionate about, like you are.
I would say, and this is going to sound funny, but I mean every word of it, don't do it. Because if you have something you're passionate in, and you think, oh yeah, if I love what I do, then it's not work. Sure, but at the same time, going to a school that focuses on art. Say you're an animation major and you want to work in 2D animation or 3D animation. Your assignments for school will be to make a 10-second animation every week. So you're churning out hundreds and hundreds of frames each week. It's draining. It will suck any and all fun out of this, what was once a hobby that you found in high school. And then you get into the real world where that's even more of a presence, crunch times and poor working conditions and all this other stuff. So honestly, I mean this sincerely. Go to trade school. You will make so much money. You won't have to work the whole year. You could literally just pick up a couple jobs here and there, fix some people's toilets, and make enough money to do whatever you want in your free time. You can continue to pursue animation. You can take online classes. You can afford it. Money is the most important thing in life. Because with that, you can do anything you want.
I'm going to go in tomorrow and tell my journalism teacher, look, this is what he said, and that's just the truth, and I believe that, so
what?
I don't know.
What do you think? You think he's going to turn it down? What will come of this?
I don't know. I don't think he'll turn it down. I'm a genius. I will figure out how to spin it.
Okay.
What was the first work that you remember being proud of, the most?
Honestly, it was that documentary I mentioned earlier on the production of Debate Club and where it went wrong. Because I really went all out. I went back home and interviewed all the old cast and crew. I scored everything myself using my roommate's keyboard at the time. And it's a very manipulative film. It's very like, I use music in a way that's like, this is what you're supposed to feel right now. It's not to say that those moments aren't necessarily earned, but I remember actually, it was for my film fundamentals class, which is the first college class I ever took. It was my first day, Monday, and it was the final project for that class. And I remember, I don't know if you want to include this, but I had hemorrhoids. Yeah, I had hemorrhoids at the time that it was supposed to be screening in class. And so I couldn't go. I couldn't go to the screening of my own film, but because it was brutal. I couldn't walk. It was very, very painful. And yeah, so I get a phone call from Joe, and I'm laying in my bed miserable. And I just hear like applause and cheering from the other end, and Joe's like, "We just watched your movie, Landon, you know, great stuff." And I just remember feeling like really, really like, I don't know, validated in that moment, acknowledged, like our hard work paid off. And that was before I really like found my footing and kind of found what makes my stuff unique now. It was before I used animation in any of my films, which is something I do, it's a constant nowadays. But just that moment laying in bed with like a welt on my asshole the size of a golf ball, just having all that pain, you know, completely alleviated, knowing that my hard work paid off.
That's beautiful, really.
Do you think you could include that line about having a welt on my asshole the size of a golf ball?
I think that I would get a hold for release if I included that. I don't think I'd be allowed to.
You would get a hold from who?
A hold for release.
What's that? Hold for release?
They hold your paper from releasing because there's something wrong with it.
Why? Because you said asshole? You can say butthole.
Even then, he'd probably just be like, how is this relevant to the story?
Because I'm setting up context for what filmmaking has done to me. My filmmaking and what I got from it is so powerful that it caused me to ignore a welt on my asshole the size of a golf ball. Isn't that more... How does that not relate to the story?
I think it does.
Listen, play this recording to your teacher. Fuck you.
Dude.
All right, I'm gonna dial it back a bit. I'm going a little bit. Don't play that to your teacher. I'm sure he's a nice guy.
He is. He tries his best.
I gotta cool down.
And this is like not really like a formal thing. I just wanted to know like what your recent stuff is. Is it mostly like stuff that you post on YouTube? Is it mostly stuff just for class?
Actually, it's okay if the battery dies. It's fine. I've got enough. And then, yeah, I'm like using animation, and in this one especially, that Teenage Bozo video that you saw earlier.
Yeah.
2005.
That's kind of like the direction I want to go. And that wasn't really made for class. It came from a class, but I didn't have to make a video. But that got traction. That got views, baby. I got like 300 views, and I didn't even try. So I'm thinking I'm gonna keep doing stuff like that just outside of class. But as far as class goes, I'm producing on Sam's thesis, and that's kind of been a nightmare, but also a unique experience. And my own thesis, I'm not even really thinking about. Yeah.
I forgot to today, but I'm gonna tell my chemistry teacher about the video you just made about the like mall rats.
Send him
and all
the
that.
link.
I will. He would really like that. I think he's very. You guys are like the same. It like really freaks me out. Like he's my favorite teacher.
What's his
and now
name?
I understand why. Michael Joffrey.
Yeah, I know. I never had Miss Joffrey, but Jesse was really good friends with her, and she was like back when QA did like clubs during school hours. you could like go to a teacher's room, like you were assigned a teacher's room to like hang out in if you didn't have a club to go to, and she was my assigned teacher. So I know I've interacted with her before, and she seemed
That's
pretty.
great.
She seemed pretty all right. So
Yeah, she's pretty
hey,
cool.
maybe I could get. Okay, don't tell Mr. Joffrey, but maybe I could, you know, if Miss Joffrey's ever like feeling unfulfilled in the relationship, maybe I could just, you know. Don't mention it. Don't mention it. Actually, don't mention it.
children together. Like, no, like, you don't understand, Landon. They met at UMD in the marching band playing trumpets.
Oh, I play trumpet.
Yeah, exactly. And you
How
like
about
D&D. He likes D&D. He likes everything that you like, and it's really scary.
I'm not scared. Is the interview over, by the way?
What'd you say?
Is the interview over? I'm down to keep talking, but I just need to. I want to know is the interview over?
Oh, yeah, it's done.
Cool.